It's good to be back here once again. I'm back with another review. Today's review will be 2001 and 2008 Nicktoon, and that is, The Fairly Odd Parents. Like how you imagined that you had these fairies that will accept your wishes. The Fairly Odd Parents was originally aired on Nickelodeon and Nicktoons. Currently airing on Teen Nick, originally streamed on Netflix, and currently streaming on Hulu. It's beta on Disney+, Pluto TV, and Paramount+. The series tells the story of a 10-year-old boy named Timmy Turner who is neglected by his parents and abused by his babysitter, Vicky. One day, he is granted two fairy godparents, Cosmo and Wanda, who grant his every wish to improve his miserable life. However, these wishes usually backfire badly and cause a series of problems that Timmy must fix. Earlier episodes of the series tend to revolve around Timmy trying to navigate his everyday life at home, at school and elsewhere in town with his friends, Chester and AJ, and occasionally his parents, while also trying to fix a wish gone awry and ultimately, learning a lesson in the end. Later in the series, Timmy wishes that Cosmo and Wanda would have a baby, whom they named Puff, and much later, Timmy gets a pet fairy dog named Sparky. Even later in the series, a new girl called Chloe Carmichael, who loves sharing animals and everything that is ecologically friendly, moves into the neighborhood, and Timmy has to share Cosmo and Wanda with her due to a shortage of available fairies. At the beginning of the series, Vicky was the main antagonist, but as the series progressed, many more villains were introduced, including Denzel Crocker, Timmy's crazed teacher who wishes to prove to the world that fairies exist, Francis, the school bully Remy Buxaplenty, a young billionaire child with a fairy godparent named Juandissimo Magnifico, who is set on getting rid of Timmy's fairy godparents due to his immense jealousy towards him for having two fairy godparents compared to his one Dark Laser, a parody of Darth Vader from Star Wars, who wants to destroy Timmy and the Earth. The Pixies, who are known to wield as much power as fairies, but they treat their magical powers like a business. The Pixies' primary goal is to take control of Fairy World and the Earth. The anti-fairies, who are similar to the actual fairies, but with polar opposite personalities and character traits. Anti-fairies are also known for causing bad luck, and Norm the Genie, who hatches a plan to gain freedom from his lamp and get revenge on Timmy. The writing for this show during its first half is very solid, as those episodes had some very witty and solid writing that provided them with some very sharp and witty comedy, a strong sense of fun, some pretty fun action, a good sense of heart and charm, some very likable characters, and takes full advantage with the concept of what a kid with magical beings who grant wishes could do. But the series sadly started going downhill once it reaches the second half, at starting with season 6. Which I thought was fine, but not on par with the first 5, and the quality would only keep doing down with each passing season, with the characters getting more flanderized and dumbed down, the humor getting more annoying and mean-spirited, and the charm from the earlier seasons being pretty much gone. But when the writing was at its best, it did result in plenty of very solid and fun episodes such as The Big Problem, Power Mad, Spaced Out, Chin Up, Tiny Timmy, Father Time, Christmas Every Day, Boys in the Band, Boy Toy, Inspection Detection, Action Packed, Tim Visible, That Old Black Magic, Foul Bald, Totally Spaced Out, The Switch Glitch, Mighty Mom and Dino Dad, Fairy Quite Contrary, Nectar of the Odds, Information Stupor Highway, Scary Godparents, Ruled Out, That's Life, Shiny Teeth, Odd West, So Totally Spaced Out, CosmoCon, Odd Jobs, Movie Magic, The Three-Part Opera Catastrophe, Mother Nature, The Crimson Chin Meets Mighty Mom and Dino Dad, The Secret Origin of Denzel Crocker, Pipe Down, Crime Wave, Oddball, Where's Wanda, Imaginary Gary, Chip Off the Old Chip, Miss Dimsdale, Mind Over Magic, Shelf Life, Hard Copy, Parenthoods, Lights. Camera. Adam, Mr. Right, Vicky Loses Her Icky, Pixies Incorporated, The Big Superhero Wish, Power Pals, Who's Your Daddy? New Squid in Town, Catman Meets the Crimson Chin, Genie Meenie Minnie Mo, The Three-Part Channel Chasers, The Two-Part School's Out, The Musical, Nigga You Do, Go Young, West Man, Birthday Wish, Blondes Have More Fun, Escape from Unwish Island, The Grand Plan, Back to the Norm, Hassle in the Castle, Remy Rides Again, Talkin' Trash, The Masked Magician, The Big Bash, Crash Nebula, Big Wanda, What's the Difference? Presto Change-O, The Good Old Days, Future Lost, The Jimmy, Timmy Power Hour Trilogy, The Two-Part Fairy Idol, The Two-Part Fairly Odd Baby, Odd Squad, Kindred Spirits 9 Lives, all 3 Wishology specials, Food Fight, and Meet the Odd Parents. But when the writing is at its worst, it does result in some pretty bad episodes like The Boy Who Would Be Queen, Love Struck, Betty Bye, Just the Two of Us, Timmy's 2D House of Horror, It's a Wishful Life, Vicky Gets Fired, Birthday Bashed, Crocker Shocker, Free Nemi Mine, Love Triangle, Timmy's Secret Wish, Fairly Odd Pet, and The Big Fairy Share Scare. The show has a pretty solid sense of humor in its prime, as even though there were a few weak jokes in them, and the later seasons' humor was more aggravating and lowbrow, there are still a good amount of very solid jokes and moments that do get some good laughs, such as the witty banter and dialogue between the characters, the snarky comebacks and one-liners, the wacky shenanigans everyone gets themselves into, the adult jokes and dark humor, and the gags and slapstick. The show also had some very strong charm and heart, which also lead to some very heartfelt and charming moments, such as Timmy and sometimes another character learning a life lesson, and the bond between Timmy and the fairies. The show also has some pretty fun action scenes depending on the episode, usually involving Timmy and his friends encountering a villain or group of villains, getting into tight spots and trying to get out of them, and escaping from life or death situations. And these moments, as I said before, can be a lot of fun and even at times intense and suspenseful. The animation is pretty well done, as it does have a neat and simple art style that does complement the show pretty well, such as the characters having some nice and simple designs along with some decently lively and zany movements. The backgrounds are nicely done and they do look pretty solid, and there are some nicely done effects. And the animation would only get more polished as the series went on. That is until the last 7 episodes, when it switched to an unappealing flash animation. The characters are all usually pretty well written and likable, as even though they do have their bad moments, some just disappear without notice, and they did get more flanderized in the later seasons. A good chunk of them in the show's heyday do manage to have some solid chemistry, charisma, dynamics, humor, and even a bit of development, whether they be major characters or more minor ones, such as Timmy, who's a pretty solid protagonist, Cosmo, Wanda, Mr. and Mrs. Turner, Jorgen, Chester and AJ, Tootie, Trixie, Mark Chang, The Crimson Chin, Puff, Joan Dissimo, Chet Utbetcha, Dr. Rip Studwell, Adam West and his alter ego Catman, Elmer, Sanjay, Doug Dimmadome, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Sandman, Easter Bunny, Cupid, Big Daddy, and more. But there were also some that were either very weak like Chloe, or very annoying like Sparky. The show also has a good selection of villains and antagonists that do show themselves to be very intimidating, menacing, threatening, and absolutely dangerous, while also being pretty funny, like Vicky, Crocker, Francis, Mama Cosma, the Pixies, Dark Laser, the Negachin, the Anti-Fairies, the Darkness and the Eliminators, and more. The voice acting is also pretty solid, as the voice actors all manage to deliver some pretty well done performances, such as Tara Strong as Timmy and Puff, Drin Norris as Cosmo, Jorgen, and Mr. Turner, Suzanne Blakesley as Wanda and Mrs. Turner, Gray Delisle as Vicky and Tootie, Carlos Salazraqui as Crocker and Joan Dissimo, Frankie Muniz and Jason Marsden as Chester, Ibrahim Hanif Mohammed and Gary Leroy Gray as AJ, Dion Kwan as Trixie, Jay Leno as the Crimson Chin, Adam West as himself, Catman, and many more. The music and songs are also pretty solid, as the score by Guy Moon is well composed and does manage to capture the show's comedic and magical tone, and a good chunk of the songs are well written and performed. They even appeared in Let's Not Forget About the movies during the show running. We have the direct-to-video movies from Paramount Home Entertainment, Nickelodeon, Billionfold Incorporated, and Frederator Studios. The Fairly Odd Parents, Abra Catastrophe the movie in 2003, A Fairly Odd Movie, Grow Up, Timmy Turner in 2011, A Fairly Odd Christmas in 2012, and A Fairly Odd Summer in 2014, at least that The Fairly Odd Parents, Catastrophe the movie was better than these stupid live-action movies. Another thing I hate about this show is their two shows, including the one that is also exclusively on Paramount Plus, The Fairly Odd Parents, Fairly Odder, and The Fairly Odd Parents, A New Wish. I prefer the original The Fairly Odd Parents better than those that look like garbage. And what is my verdict on this Nicktoon? I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. Jordan Aiden 1995 has mixed his opinion on this show. I still respect his opinion on that show.
Frederator!